Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL. Don't panic. Right, we finally got the Gyokeres pricing. So as I said in my last video, I had Isaac just in there as a placeholder. So Gyokeres is in now, and it also has freed up a little bit of money for me. So I've done doing a couple of other things as well. I was going to do my spreadsheet today, so I have done my own spreadsheet, but I was also going to do a Haaland spreadsheet, Salah spreadsheet, so we can actually directly compare my numbers against those. But I swear to God, it's taking so much bloody time, and if I spend much more time on this thing, I swear my missus is going to bloody leave me. I was going
Are you playing on that stupid bloody game again?
Just a sec. Right, that'd be my average. Okay, let's get into it. First things first, a little bit of housekeeping. The Don't Panic League code up there in the top right. So yeah, come on board with the league. I said I would do a prize for the best team name. And also for the winner at the end of the season, and probably a few spot competitions across the season. So here we go on this one. I've done a couple of designs. I've finished, need a little bit of a tidying up. Which one do you guys prefer? And I will get them. I'll get them printed up. As I say, yeah, I am a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fan. Don't really have a preference myself. Maybe I'll get some done of both. But give me your vote, which one you prefer, or otherwise, if I don't get enough votes, I'll just make a decision myself. I think I know which one I prefer myself. I kind of like them both a little bit, and I might even do a Dad's Army one at one point. Don't panic, Mr. Manning. Remember that one? So yeah, that's it. Just knock that one out of the way quickly. Get rid of those, because there is quite a bit to get through today, as you'll probably see from all the screenshots I've got just below me there. So right, let's just start with the team as it stands. All right, as I say, I've brought in. There you go. Right. Well, I'll run through it very, very quickly here. Then I'll run through the spreadsheet with you guys. Right, so yeah, starting out, we've got Sanchez. As I mentioned, he averaged just barely under the 4 points last year. Really, really happy with that. We'll run through it in the spreadsheet. Milenkovich is in. Gabriel is still there. Could potentially be going. And Virgil is, for me, an absolute lock-in. Palmer, lock-in at this stage. Bert's a lock-in at this stage. Got Marmoush in there. So I'm going to just talk about that shortly. He may be gone as quickly as he came in, but I really do like the look of this team, and you'll see why when I run you through my spreadsheet. And then we've got Rogers and Saka, and up front, Solanke and Gyokeres. So overall, I think that actually looks pretty good. But there is obviously the massive, massive problem of quite literally no bench. Nothing. The only one there maybe that might be playing, I guess, could be Heaven, I suppose, who looks like he's certainly going to get minutes. He's certainly going to get minutes. That young lad's going to turn into an absolutely fabulous player, and it wouldn't surprise me if he nails down a start in that United side sometime this season. But I suspect it's not going to be in the first few games. So that's the team. I'm going to take you through the spreadsheet now, and just give you my more in-depth thoughts on this team and some of the ideas that I've got around it. Okay, now hopefully that is going to come up clear for you guys. Okay, should be looking okay. If you will soon find out. Okay, let's talk about Sanchez. So, as you know, let's talk about the spreadsheet. Actually, talk about the spreadsheet. As you know, a lot of you know already, I try to get 4 points as an average out of my goalkeepers, 5 points out of my defenders as an average, 6 points out of my midfielders, and 7 points out of my strikers. So the fixture 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as you got there, those are the projections. I've done this through my own analysis. I've looked at the past. I've looked at the type of fixtures. Their averages from last year, potentially as much as possible, what they'll get from the bonus point system for defensive actions. I'm reasonably okay with this, and it's football. Of course, anything can happen, but as an average, that doesn't mean that one's not going to go out. Milenkovich isn't going to go out game week 1 and get 2 points, but hopefully then he'll get a clean sheet and something set the following week. It's all about the averages. So these are as best I can do without up-to-date data, as in last 4 or 5 game weeks. Obviously, their last 4 or 5 game weeks happened last season. This will become more and more powerful as the season goes on, as actual game week 1, becomes actually, game week 1, where I have a projection at the moment, becomes the actuals, and we'll start to see the reality of these averages. But Sanchez, yeah, I'm hopeful of that 4 points. He was only just under averaging 4 points per game last year. So I think there's a good chance there, given that some of these fixtures, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Fulham, Brentford, good fixtures. Man United away, I've got in as a blue fixture, as in chance of a return, but there's no real red fixtures up there until game week 7. So reasonably hopeful he can sort of be just a set and forget, at least for the first 6 or 7 games. Milenkovich, so that's probably a big one. You'll see I've taken Gvardiol out. These new bonus point systems is going to have an effect. And Milenkovich would have been a monster last year. He would have been right up there. The teams that play this low block but have decent defences. So in that, I'm talking your Evertons and your Notts Forests. It's going to be good. They're going to be good. So I'm looking at Tarkowski as well, because as much as I like Gabriel, I do have the potential there maybe to clear some space, get 0.5 back, so that maybe I can get change him for Tarkowski, because that would give me 0.5 million back, and it wouldn't actually affect that 0.5 points. Tarkowski would have hit the numbers. He would have hit my 5 last year with the bonus point system. So Gabriel, much though it would pay me, it feels crazy not to have a part of that Arsenal defence. But the simple fact is that Gabriel picked up bugger all bonus points last year. He averaged just over the 4. Probably would have been a little bit more over the 4 with a few bonus points, maybe a few more attacking returns, because his attacking returns did dry up after Saka's injury, because Saka was the key provider for him with those corners in. So I'm not set on giving up Gabriel, but it does free up 0.5, which would mean that I can look at something on the bench. Do you have somewhere else I'm going to look at as well, though? Virgil actually is a total lot. Virgil, Tarkowski, and Milenkovich would be bonus points monsters. Not sure why. I think maybe it's just the way Liverpool play, going for that sort of counter attack. But Virgil does clean up on the bonus points as well. So a defence of Virgil, Tarkowski, and Milenkovich will be absolutely immense. Now, I'm not 100% doing that yet. There's another option I'm looking at as well, which I'm going to come to in the midfield. But it would give me my averages. Effectively should be getting the the 5s out of those defenders. An average of 5 across multiple game weeks. We'll see. As I say, it's football. Anything could happen. They could all bloody concede loads of goals and get sent off. Of course, these things happen, but I'm just trying to see that there is a decent possibility, based on last year's numbers, based on the bonus point systems, based on the fixtures, that they can hit the numbers that I'm looking for, which, as you'll see at the bottom there, adds up to 63. Why 63, I hear you ask? Well, 63, and if one of my midfielders comes through, one of the strikers comes through with a goal, and they're most likely going to be the captain, then I should be hitting over the 70 points, which, again, as most that is my target, that 70-point target, trying to average that 70 points, across the season, because that fundamentally will give you a nice top 10k finish. Midfield, okay, yeah, Palmer's a lock. Obviously didn't have the greatest finish to last season, but Palmer still averaged the 6 points. Wouldn't expect too many bonus points, but he averaged 6 points despite that absolutely unmitigated disaster of a second half of the season last year. So I think the 6 points 6 to 7 points for him is completely achievable. He achieved it in a terrible season last year. So at the moment, yeah, lock in, and as I say, really good fixtures, starting to look sharp again, starting to get a little bit of that old arrogance back that we love. On penalties, what's not to love? Verts is probably the one where I am having to fiddle the numbers a bit, because I simply don't know. I need some Salah coverage because I haven't got Salah, obviously. But he does look like the sort of player that is going to pick up, a return every other game, be that a goal or an assist, and he should, pick up hopefully the odd clean sheet point here. I don't think he's going to be a bonus point monster for the defensive actions. But looking at that opening fixture, then we've got a couple of more difficult ones, and I do actually have a potential solution there. This Newcastle and Arsenal fixtures don't look great, but then we've got Burnley and Everton. And it's these first 5 game weeks I'm looking at in particular. Do I think he can average 6 points across those 5 game weeks? I do. And obviously his record, his goal scoring record and assist record to date, albeit been in what some would say would be a weaker league, his output may drop off. But if he just hits that with the players around him, maybe his output increases. When he's got beautiful players skillful players to aim those lovely passes in for assists, etc. But that's the idea of the table. If he's falling off those averages, after 3 or 4 games, then he's gone, and I get someone in from the watch list who is. That's the way it works. Rogers is the one there that may be the big. He actually averaged about 5 last year, but year older, year wiser. And they say we know that those fixtures, and it's the fixtures I think that give me maybe some hope that he'll sort of hit those 6 averages for me. But at the price, and he's starting to get a bit more consistent. He definitely has drop-offs. He's never going to bring you in big hauls. Well, he did actually have 1 or 2 last year, in fairness. But he's not going to be a big sort of haul. You're not going to be expecting regular 12, 13, 14s out of him. Don't need that. Just get me a return every second game. Little assist, little goal every second game. That will do nicely, because at the price it obviously helps to enable the other things like the Sakas and the Palmers. And then Saka, of course. So, okay, I've got Saka in there. And as you obviously see, I've got Gyokeres now as well. There are people that are saying, "Oh, Gyokeres is going to weaken Saka." I couldn't disagree more. The amount of Saka averages 7. Saka will average 7 at the end of the season. Saka only had 1 penalty, I think, last year. The amount of chances that Saka set up that I saw missed or spooned pretty much from on the line over the bar, I really, really think Gyokeres strengthens Saka, and I'm actually expecting I've got him in there for an average of 6. He did achieve an average of 7 last year, even when he came back from injury. Despite that drop off, he still kept an average of 7. I'm really, of all the players that are going to hit their averages pretty much bang on, the one I'm most confident of is Saka. Then, of course, we have Marmoush. Now, I had Rodri in there, and Marmoush I'm projecting, at 6. Now, what did he? Yeah, Marmoush actually did average just over 5 last year per minutes of the games that he played. But as I say, we've got some pretty favourable fixtures there for City. A lot of the game time for Marmoush was with Haaland not on the pitch. Haaland will be on the pitch, we would think, and Marmoush's output is actually better when Haaland is actually playing. So, reasonably confident again, based on last year's numbers, based on those fixtures, that average of 6 is across the first 5 games more than achievable. However, I'm still thinking, do I put Rodri back in? And I'll tell you why in a second. Well, one, it gives me a couple of million back, where I could do something which does help to solve a problem. So basically, if I did bring Rodri back, I don't think it affects those numbers too much. Rodri's output the season before last was something like 5 goals, 8 assists, and he would have absolutely been picking up a decent amount of those defensive action bonus points, and he would quite comfortably be achieving that 6-point average at a really, really good price. I just love the idea of. I'm so reluctant to do it because I do also think, Marmoush's upside, I think, is clearly much bigger. But as I say, it is that sum of the parts being bigger than the individual, because by dropping Marmoush back down to Rodri, keeping on those same sort of averages, and hopefully achieving those same sort of averages, that 2 million could be used to, I could do any number of things. The one I think that might be a favourite for me could be to upgrade Dodson to Evan Nielsen. Because then Evan Nielsen could come in game week 2, where he's got a really nice fixture. Jet to Wolves at home, something like Wolves at home, where I could look at a menu, I guess. But no, no, to be honest with you, no, it'll be strengthening up front. So I've got a really nice. I actually achieve. Totally spoke about it. So I can actually go from 3-4-3, 3-5-2, and as I said, that really decent, strong bench option helped me avoid taking hits. Someone rightly pointed out, which I was very aware of. My motto, take no hits, will be sorely tested if I did go with what's there at the moment, and that pretty much, a non-playing bench. So I'd certainly be looking to see if I can find those 4 million playing defenders, but we're really scraping it there. Do want at least something first off the bench decent. And I guess I could actually have quite a decent bench if I did remove Marmoush for Rodri. Still going to hit the same averages. Take Gabriel out for Tarkowski, and there's 0.5 there, and I could actually get a nice 4.5 playing defender, a Wan-Bissaka or something like that. Sorry, what am I saying there? No, sorry. Change Dodgson, I should say, to a 4.5 defender. Then I've actually got really nice first off the bench attacking option, and a pretty decent 4.5 million. I mean, I might actually start to suddenly find that Heaven is playing and that Kinski's playing. Maybe I might change my mind about that game week 1 bench boost. That is not on the cards for me at the moment. I actually think, for me, my tactics, the way I'm playing things, I think better opportunities are going to lie further down the track. And that probably will come sometime after our wildcard, ideally after game 10, or maybe around Africa's Cup time, when we've got those 5 transfers. I just think we just spend some, what's happened to me in the past with bench boost. Bear in mind, I haven't played that long. My most successful bench boost was one where I just went, select team one morning, and I looked at, okay, it's a pretty cheap bench, but those actually don't look like bad fixtures. No, just play my bench boost, see what happens, and I got like 30 points. Last year, I slaved over it. Actually, no, I didn't slave over it. The year before. Was it last year? No, last year was a total fuck up. Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago, I absolutely slaved over it. Got about 3 or 4 points. I think sometimes I'm just going to play it when I see it, without stressing too much. And maybe that is it. If I do make those changes, maybe I think, yeah, Kinski might get some minutes. Heaven might get some minutes. Evan Nielsen's, he's always he's got a very good expected goals. And bear in mind, he came back from injury last year and he did so well. If it's a Wan-Bissaka or something like that, maybe I just bloody hit it on game 1. I don't know, just get it out of the way, because it can be a pain planning for it, and you can do more damage than good sometimes. So that is the team. So I reckon it's got 63 points in it. I think on those fixtures, not too bad. Seriously considering, as I say, those transfers. Where would you go on the transfers there? But these are my projections. Now, I think it's going to get 63 points, and you just hope get the captaincy calls right. And that is one of the other challenging things, of course, in not having Salah. Haaland, the best captain, is not going to always be available to you each week. Doesn't mean because Salah or Haaland is the best captain choice, they are going to get the most. But perma-captaining Salah for a lot of last season paid dividends. So that is one of the big risks with this team. So I am going with it, but it's going to be scary. But there are good captaincy options, I think, in that game week 1. You've got Palmer. Maybe even Burt's home to Bournemouth. That Bournemouth defence. I mean, how many players have they lost? Gyokeres suddenly becomes a captaincy option. Good choices then in game week 2. Saka home to Leeds. I mean, that's one of the things I wanted. That nice treble up against Leeds. with Arsenal at home. We know Arsenal like to bank 5 or 6 against the the smaller teams. I would say there is a decent chance I free hit in 3. I'm hoping I'm rolling transfers because when I get to 5 and I can see, hopefully I've actually been doing well, keeping above that 70-point average or getting close to it. Been in the ballpark. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Am I hitting my averages? Because believe you me, the averages play out across the season. The winner last year was 74. That's been the 73, 74 for the last 2, 3, 4 years, and 70 points for the last 2, 3, 4 years before it gets you in that top 10k. Now I know you can say, oh yeah, but we've got these extra chips. Yeah, well last year we had the assistant manager, and it was still 74. Oh, we've got the extra points for these bench boosts. All that actually really does, to a degree, is widen the pool of players that you choose from, and it is quite often the cheaper ones that would have had lower points are going to get a boost that might bring them up closer to the level, of your Palmers and your Marmouches and your things like that. But it's not actually going to bring up the overall average. It's just there is just going to be a wider pool of players hitting that average. Does that make sense? Yeah, but I don't think it's going to actually majorly up the amount of points that the winner will have or what it takes to get into the top 10k. We'll see how that plays out, though. I could be proven wrong on that. A lot of this stuff is new, but that's where I kind of could see it going. Right. So, however, I don't like. This is what I think it's going to do. What does AI think it's going to do? And because I can try and paint these numbers whatever way I want them to give me the result I want. So I reckon this team will come out with 63 points. Those that follow last year, I usually leave the captaincy out of my predictions, and that's, I think, particularly important to do that at the moment, given that I'm not really dealing with up-to-date data. So I'm going to predict this team does 63 points, and happily, so does AI. Let's bring this up. I actually ran the first 5 game weeks through FPL Hub. As most of you know, I do not like AI. I think, what's the bloody point? We're playing the game to have fun. So if you've got a robot choosing your team each week, your transfers, what's the point? I do like a few features in FPL Hub though, and it does help you to test your sanity, or that you actually are making a complete dog's bollocks of it. This is actually pretty consistent, and we all like a positive affirmation, don't we? But I have run some Salah Haaland drafts through this as well, and this stacks up. It actually stacks up quite nicely. So here's a see that that's game week 1, and it's all sort of hitting that sort of just over the 60 points mark. But I've done a few Haaland drafts and Salah drafts and just pumped it in here. There's not a huge amount of difference except that obviously there is a reliance on the numbers that they have to come from Haaland and Salah. So in that respect, it does give me a little smidgen of positive confirmation that this might actually go well. And it is certainly a differential because as it stands at the moment, the vast majority of people are going Salah. Then there is another faction going Haaland, a lesser number, but there ain't that many going no Salah, Haaland. Now I suspect that may change a little bit, and that's the no Salah, Haaland people will probably increase a wee bit before game week 1, but we'll see. 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks to go now, isn't it, before kickoff? Times are ticking, folks. Times are ticking. So just run through these. Game week 1. There we go. So that's pretty close to, and that's a pretty decent game week rating actually. Yeah. So these are pretty close to my own sort of projections, and I guess what I've got to hope is that it's really accurate, and for me that my captain comes in each week. But these are 60, 63. Yeah. I mean This is bizarre. And I absolutely promise you, I did my team, did my own projections, pumped it in here, and this is what it came. And game week 3, where I'm seriously thinking of doing a free hit and target some juicy fixtures because I think my team looks weak that week, largely because I've got players playing each other. And yeah, it's showing obviously is down to an 85%, and just projecting 58 points. And then we get out of that little mess. And we're back up over the 60s again. you know, and I may end up doing transfers. You know, if I've got players falling off a cliff, you know, I move them out and they're really falling off those averages. You know, I move them out and I bring players in that are obviously looking a lot better. But there you go. So what I'm next steps for me probably is to make decisions, I guess, around where the Marmouche goes. Let's see the league code again. Decisions around whether Marmouche goes. I just really like that team as I've got it at the moment. I really do like that team as I've got it at the moment. You know, I could just have one off the bench. I could just have one off the bench and bring Gabriel down to Tarkowski, which I do not believe weakens the team at all, or certainly in terms of the points I'm looking for. And we know that Everton have got some pretty nice fixtures. But it is definitely definitely one to think about because you know having Evan Nielsen first off that bench, that nice fixture against Wolves. I think Solanke's got quite a tough fixture in game week 2 as well, hasn't he? And you know, and do both and do the Tarkowski move with moving Gabriel out, and then I've got a really good first 2 off the bench. That's my next one I'm going to wrestle with. That's the next one I'm going to wrestle with. I think it maybe makes sense to do that. It does give me some pretty nice rotations. Um, yeah, just a shame to lose Mamouche. I was quite because Gyokeres came in a bit cheaper than I expected. I just said, "Ooh, that looks nice." I still haven't got a fucking bench. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, folks. Yeah, don't forget to vote. Which of the t-shirts designs do you prefer? And then I will yeah, just finish those off and get them off to the printer. Don't forget to join the league. Come up with a good team name if you want to have a chance of winning a t-shirt, you know, something quirky, funny or weird. Other than that, let me know what you know in the comments, what you think of the team at the moment. Would you take Marmouche out and bring in Rodri? It's not as exciting a pick from attacking extent, but if Rodri does find his form, he is the engine of that City team, and he'll be picking up tackles and things and making things happen, and will get you an attacking return roughly every 1 in 3, 1 in 4. But all of that with a few attacking returns, the odd clean sheet, he's a very solid 5-6 points per week player. But he will not be. We never know, but he is saying that he get 17 points in the first game of the season. The season he got the season before last, basically. So yeah, he's got the odd ball in the locker as well. Still a few decisions to be made, but I do feel I am really close now. What do you think? I'm going to leave it at that for now. I will catch up with you all soon. Have fun, play your own game. Don't panic. I'll see you soon.